Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. I'm Ayesee, and I'm here with RepCast number 2. An absolute pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to casting this game. Have not watched it, as is the case from all replays that I do cast for my RepCast, but, I mean, it doesn't get much bigger in Dota 2 right now than Empire versus Na'Vi, and we're actually starting to see these two teams play each other quite a bit, just because they are really in a class of their own. When you're talking North American and European in particular, Dota just really leading the way in terms of pure skill level, and doing great so far here at the end of 2012. Looking forward to a bright future in 2013. Anyway, thanks for joining me. And for those who are new to RepCast, these are my attempts to get a little bit better at solo casting and also to just produce a little bit of extra content and, yeah, build a YouTube channel. That's always a nice plan to have as a caster, right? But anyway, let's take a look at the bans, see the way things are moving right now. The two bans out from Na'Vi, not really surprising. Wisp is a hero that's super highly valued by Empire, and they play Wisp unbelievably well. Same thing with Sven. We've been seeing Empire make a lot of use of Sven lately, especially in conjunction with the Wisp, and I've been high on Sven's horse for quite some time. I think the hero has so much untapped potential. We're beginning to see him used a lot more in the competitive scene just because of that. Not just because of how he synergizes with Wisp in particular, but because he's what I call, oh, I had a perfect phrase lined up for. But anyway, he's a hero that can limit your opponent's options. I mean, he's very strong in lane. We all know that. We know how well he does with Warcry. The bonus armor is absolutely absurd, and Stormhammer makes him an unbelievably strong presence in lane early on. But he just flat out hard counters a lot of heroes. CK, for example, struggles against the Sven. Once Sven has a few points in the cleave, CK, especially in the late stages of the game when he is normally so dependent on getting the extra mileage out of his illusions from Phantasm, Sven just manages to shut that down completely. He pops God Strength, usually going to have a Mask of Madness by that time if that is the item choice, and that item choice is becoming much more popular as Sven works his way into the competitive metagame. But all of that combined with the cleave just guarantees that any hero that's dependent on illusions in particular, even a carry Tiny, for example, who is usually going to want that Manta after the Aghanim Scepter, he's going to struggle a bit. Those illusions are just not going to stay up long enough to get a whole lot done. So Na'Vi, just not interested in dealing with that at all. Probably the most chalk bans in Dota right now coming out from Empire in the Batrider and the Darkseer. But on to the picks. And again, it's kind of by the book. Bounty Hunter being first picked a lot more often, being very highly valued by teams that like an aggressive style. And we've got two teams here that are ultra aggressive in their own right. I mean, Na'Vi known as a team who can sit back and free farm, and they're happy to take a passive stance if they think that their composition is going to benefit more from that than from any sort of real aggression. But 9 times out of 10, Na'Vi is going to be looking, even if they have an extremely farm-dependent hero, they're going to be looking to get a lot done on the map while that hero farms, and that's kind of the idea behind a lot of Na'Vi strategies, is they want to apply pressure in small, isolated areas, kind of guerrilla tactics, and that's going to free up their carry to farm well through most of the game. And again, that's typical. Doesn't mean that's what we're going to see here today, but with the Bounty Hunter out, we're certainly going to see some kind of aggression. Once Bounty hits level 6, of course, you want to get the most out of Track, and Track at level 2 is when things just go nuts. And he can just flat out win a game for you by getting enough track kills or being part of enough track kills. So, on to Empire. What they've picked up, 2 very strong heroes, probably the 2 strongest heroes just in terms of one-on-one or their potential just within themselves, their intrinsic value, in TA and Jakiro. Jakiro is just an unbelievably strong lane presence now, and probably one of the most actually played heroes. He's banned fairly frequently, but more often than not, you see him survive the first ban phase and make it in to the first pick phase, and he'll be picked up first and second in a lot of cases. TA, much the same. TA does not often make it through the first pick phase without being banned, or picked, I should say. And with Scandal on the team as well. Scandal, just an unbelievably talented mid player on Empire, and I would almost dare say a TA specialist. If TA is available, Empire is going to pick her almost every single time in the first couple of picks, and they're going to put Scandal on TA just because he loves the hero, he plays the hero so well, and he allows you to apply, or she allows you to apply, I should say, so much pressure in the mid game. And again, that can play into strategies like we talked about with Na'Vi, freeing up your carry to farm if that's your strategy, or you can just play an extremely gank-centric lineup and try to win the game in short order. And Empire, again, a team that is kind of known for that, even more so than Na'Vi. Back to Na'Vi's lineup for a moment, though. Leshrac and Keeper of the Light. Keeper of the Light, a very situational pick. It's rare to see him picked up this early. I shouldn't say super rare, but you don't see it every day. It's not something that's very typical, but it does happen from time to time. And when it does happen, it's usually because you're looking for some kind of a tri-lane that's going to benefit from his chakra more than anything else. Illuminate is a great spell to just cause all kinds of havoc during the laning phase, but like with a Leshrac, for example, or possibly another pickup, especially in terms of a carry, if they want to go with a CK or even a Tiny that we mentioned before. Just being able to use Chakra to basically guarantee unlimited mana, even Undying, by the way. Undying has made it through so far and has not been picked or banned. And that's actually becoming more and more rare these days. Undying valued so highly by a lot of teams that you will see him picked up in the first 6. But at first glance, seeing the 3 out from both teams, it seems to me the Navi's actually a bit more open in the way they can do this. Bounty's probably going to wind up in your long lane, but with the Keeper of the Light and the Leshrac, that could be a defensive or an offensive tri-lane. And yeah, they're going to be able to just kind of react to what Empire throws at them if they want to do so, at least with their next couple of picks. But in terms of Empire, I mean, Windrunner occasionally is going to go mid, but you're not going to see her go mid with the TA. It's just not going to happen. So you basically got your long lane and your mid in Windrunner and TA, respectively. And Jakiro is just, again, so strong in lane. Empire does have the option to run an offensive or a defensive tri-lane, though. Jakiro works in both of those cases. And the second ban phase is proceeding. I want to point out, of course, the Pudge ban, and I would say most teams now ban Pudge against Na'Vi. Just no reason to allow that hero to fall into Dindy's hands. No reason to take that chance. I mean, and it goes beyond respect. I mean, whenever you use the phrase respect ban, it's so easy to say, well, it's just a nod. It's not really that. I mean, Na'Vi just knows how to run that hero and get the most out of that hero to the point it really is a benefit to guarantee that he's not going to be in your way. But speaking of in your way, Magnus is going to be looking to obstruct things quite a bit. And Magnus is becoming more and more common, and this is usually when you're going to see him picked up. It's kind of rare to see him in the first 6 picks. But if he survives the ban phase on into the 4th and 5th picks on either team, if he's going to be picked up, it's usually going to be there. And anymore, it seems more and more common that Magnus is going to be run in mid. He can, again, serve as a long lane if you really want him to. He can use Skewer as an escape mechanism, and he benefits just from a lot of early levels. But teams are figuring out how to play him mid more and more. You can actually just Bottle Crow with him, spam Shockwave for your last hits and harassment, and once you get the levels up, not to mention some base core items, he becomes just such a presence everywhere on the map. Back to Empire, they have picked up Slarter, and I like that pick a lot. Seeing Slarter picked up excites me. I think he's a hero that's very underutilized in a lot of cases, has a lot that he can offer to any lineup, but with the Bounty Hunter in particular, being able to use the amplified damage, going to give you some true sight, make sure the Bounty Hunter stays put or stays in vision, and he's not just relying so much on Shadow Walk to keep himself alive. It's going to be a bit of a liability Na'Vi has to take into account, and Na'Vi does go ahead and pick up the Tiny, so I like that a lot, again, because of the way it's going to work with the Keeper of the Light. If they are going to put him in lane, I would imagine it'll be a Keeper of the Light, Leshrac, Tiny, tri-lane, Magnus mid with Bounty in the long lane. Chakra's just going to give Tiny infinite mana. He's going to be able to spam his combo, even at the very early levels, levels 1 through 3, if he wants to do so. And that's going to give them the ability to team fight, not to mention the damage that comes out from Illuminate and, of course, Split Earth plus Edict from Leshrac. So they're going. I would suspect it's going to be a defensive tri-lane. They could do something a little bit goofy or a little bit unorthodox, but that seems to make the most sense, especially given that you're going to be wanting to wait for Bounty Hunter to hit level 6 as well as Magnus to get there, and it is going to be Dindy on Magnus, so again, I think that solidifies things. Dindy most likely taking the Magnosaurus mid. And yeah, this is looking to be an interesting game already. Nature's Prophet rounded out the team composition for Empire. Probably going to see him in the long lane. Actually, I really don't know where they're going to run him, now that I think about it. I guess, I don't know, I guess they're going to have to jungle him. But anyway, we are going to have a quick pause, so I'll tell you what. Just to make this video a little bit more pleasant to watch, going to go ahead and fast forward the video now, catch you on the other side of that. And we're back on the other side of that pause. It was actually quite a long pause, so I'm very happy. I decided to fast forward it for you, 5 minutes. No chat or anything. I mean, usually when the teams pause, there's at least some chat you can look at. No such luck here, but anyway, welcome back. Well, I guess it was basically no time elapsed at all for you guys, so I guess I should stop acting like you were gone for a while, huh? Anyway, tell you what, how about we run through our lineups while we wait for these lanes to take shape. We'll start on the side of Na'Vi. Gonna have Puppy playing on the side, or playing our Leshrac. Looks like we're going to have Havost handling our Tiny. The Magnosaurus, once again, going to be played by Dindy. Always a lot of fun to see him on heroes. You don't always see that much. Again, it's kind of changing a bit. Beginning to see Magnus picked a lot more. But anyway, back to Bounty Hunter, going to be played by Light of Heaven, and Keeper of the Light Going to be handled by AA, also known as R's Art. On the other side of the river, Gold Black hanging out in the spawn right now. Him and his cute little buddy, the Badger. Gold Black on Nature's Prophet for this game. Going to have Jakiro handled by SS. TA going to be played by Scandal. Again, no surprise at all there. We're going to be watching Scandal's performance in mid early on. So much of what Empire is going to want to accomplish is going to be predicated by how dominant Scandal can be and if he can indeed control what happens in mid. And we're going to have Blow Your Brain farming up on our Slaughter with Funnick, as expected, running our long lane Windrunner. So, Funnick, again, just such a good Windrunner player. We'll occasionally flash the camera back and forth just to keep an eye on him. Don't want to miss any of that action. But the lanes are beginning to take shape now. Here in mid, it is going to be Dindy going head-to-head with Scandal, so this will be a fun matchup to watch. It's one that Scandal should win. It's worth mentioning, though, the way that TA more or less works. As early on, I mean, Refraction allows her to hang and bang quite well, but she's a hero that gets more and more dominant as time passes. The more time that passes in mid, once she hits level 4, level 5, she gets to be a bigger and bigger threat. We can already see Empire playing very aggressive here against Light of Heaven. Already the sentry down. With that sentry down, Light of Heaven's going to have to be very careful. He probably has no idea that's come out quite yet. First point into Slithering Crush from Blow Your Brain is going to allow them to apply the pressure to him they want to, as they want to do so. Talking about our Prophet, he actually is in the jungle. This is something you don't see too often anymore. Generally speaking, Prophet is run in the long lane, but when he first went into the game, well, I mean, just very, very early on, he was one of the first heroes in, period. But Prophet used to basically be a jungle specialist. He can jungle, he's not the fastest in the world, but if anything, it allows you to just be ready to TP anywhere. And that's really what Prophet gives you, is that global presence. The fact that even at level 1 and 2, he can start TPing in to try and get some ganks off and try to be just a +1. And we're going to have another pause. No idea how long this one's going to be, so tell you what, we'll catch you as soon as Gold Black reconnects. And we're back once again. Gold Black able to make it back in just a few moments' time. But anyway, back to what we're talking about. The Prophet in particular. Prophet is not nearly as highly valued as he used to be. He was another hero in a long line of heroes who were originally first pick, first ban, but as the hero pool expanded, we saw him just fall from grace pretty heavily. In fact, he's rarely picked and banned anymore compared to a lot of heroes, say Jakiro, Bounty Hunter, the new big winners in terms of their value in the metagame. And we can actually see Bounty taking a lot of damage here, forced to go ahead and Shadow Walk out, so Light of Heaven going to stay safe for the moment. But one of the reasons he was originally highly valued and why he's still highly valued by some teams and in some lineups is the fact that he can become a +1 at pretty much any stage of the game. I mean, level 2, literally, he can start teleporting around if you have someone overextended in a solo lane and all that fun stuff. So we'll keep an eye on him. Going to be looking forward to him being active and giving us a lot of action to broadcast here. Scandal's picked up a DD, going to help him not just scare Dindy back for the moment, but also with some last hits. Dindy, not sure, I don't think he's, or has he picked up his bottle? Yep, he's already bottle crowing, so rushed it out. Speaking of Gold Black and Nature's Prophet, Light of Heaven now moving into the jungle and trying to just chase Gold Black back a bit. We've got a little bit of rotation coming up from Na'Vi towards mid now, and you can just see how devastating that shockwave is, forcing Scandal to burn those bottle charges, and Scandal's going to be caught with a splitter. The Edict is popped as well. Dindy still right there. He's got one more shockwave to use. Going to save it to secure the kill. Refraction is up, and Dindy, is he gonna? No! First blood on the board. Give it to Puppy. Dindy getting himself out of trouble, staying just outside of TA's range. And Na'Vi on the board quick. First blood at 3 minutes in. Already we see the TP back, but that's a big, big kill for them. Anytime in a situation like this where you've got a hero that should, in theory, just flat out lose to a TA, anytime you can get the first blood and kill that Templar Assassin, it just goes so far in terms of shutting that hero down or at least keeping her down for a little while, a little bit longer than you would normally expect to do so. And just guaranteeing, I mean, you can't say it's a one lane because, again, the longer that one-on-one situation continues, TA is going to have and continue to build an advantage. But it's a much longer road she has to travel now. Funnick, actually, way out of position here. Just basically got soloed by AA. That's really the only way to say it. Havost came on over. Just a little bit of a misplay there for Funnick. And that's a rare thing to see, again. But here we go. Jakiro's going to move in. Dual Breath. The Ice Path was off the mark. But Dindy able to skewer himself to safety. And again, that's one of the things that people have kind of realized about Magnus with his skewer and why he can't even work in the long lane. Just using it to get yourself out of trouble. Right now, though, taking a look at the last hit. So we can see the big winner on the board is Slarter. He's had more or less uncontested farms, sitting at 24. Same thing for Tiny at the exact same clip. So both of the carries. Oh, wow. Funnick's going to get picked off again. Flick the camera there just in time to see it. And, yeah, now, Funnick, you're making me look dumb, man. Was bragging about how good of a windrunner you are. But caught out of position twice. And granted, he was under his own tower there. But he has to know the lineup he's up against is going to be able to do that to him. You've just got so much burst damage coming out of Leshrac and Tiny alone, not to mention Illuminate spam to guarantee that when you are engaged upon, chances are you're going to have low health to begin with. Anyway, and just look at Scandal. Scandal continues to struggle. A lot of this due to that early gank. Very well executed by Na'Vi. And wow, Dindy's already 6. He's going to go ahead and spin the reverse polarity. Here comes Puppy taking the tower shots. Doesn't matter. He's going to kill Scandal again. Yep, there's the... Scandal. What a meld. Very well executed there. Thought for sure they had him. But nope, the Split Earth just a little bit off the mark. Dindy came up a little short on the skewer as well, so Scandal manages to stay alive. And we're going to go ahead and have a dive on Light of Heaven as well. There's the amplified damage, a Slithering Crush, and yep, can't even call the abilities out. They happen so quickly. Finally, Empire is on the board. In the meantime, on the backside, Leshrac's going to drop to Scandal and Funnick. And this is really not too big of a surprise, given both of these teams and their play style. Usually, once one or both teams, especially with lineups like these, decide they want to get aggressive, it's not just going to be one or two isolated kills that kind of slows down after a while. Chances are you're just going to see a lot of aggression out of both sides. Speaking of, Empire now banging away on the Tier 1 top, so they're ready to press that advantage. Puppy spending a lot of time here in mid and really just causing Scandal some problems. In fact, Magnus has more farm now. And, oh wow, Scandal might be in some trouble. Funnick is there. The Edict is popped, and there's a side trap now. Puppy might be in a bit of trouble. What a Split Earth. Catches 2 and buys him just enough time to make it to safety. Illuminate comes out, but here comes Havost and Dindy. Shockwave in the big toss from Tiny. Dindy skewers Funnick back. We see the TA drop Funnick trying to wind run to safety. Just Tier 1 boots on Dindy. Doesn't matter. One good little shot with a spear and one good shockwave, and Na'Vi builds on that lead. Make it 5-3, and this is really a situation I don't think Empire's used to being in. Not to say that Empire's never trails and is never down, but usually when it comes to early engagements applying a lot of pressure, they are the ones who want to get that job done. It's rare to see Empire just kind of being outmaneuvered, and that's really the only way to put it. Na'Vi is just moving a lot better than they are. Light of Heaven is level 4, so he's going to be level 6 before too terribly long. They're going to go ahead and go on him again. He's got the amplified damage on him, so he's not going to be able to rely on invisibility to keep him safe. Blow your brain, sprints, and the crush catches him. Dual Breath seals the deal. Jakiro adds another kill to the total. And yeah, Empire charging back. That's just a little bit of a misplay there coming out from Bounty Hunter. And you kind of have to know better. Oh, hang on. Another reverse polarity catches Scandal. Splitter is going to follow it up. Shockwave, Illuminate, very dead. Scandal. And Scandal is just having an awful, awful early game. Usually, he's going to dominate that middle lane. But Na'Vi's just had his number. They've moved perfectly. They've been there when they needed to be. Anticipated when he was going to be a little bit too far across the river. And now they're going to be looking to take a Tier 1 mid. 6-4. Again, the current kill count, 2-0 for Tiny, 2-0 for the Keeper of the Light. They are going to use the glyph to try and keep this Tier 1 middle standing. But yeah, this is beginning to be problematic. Dindy's got a kill on the board as well. Leshrac with a kill of his own, so pretty well distributed in terms of the quality of kills. Here's going to be a big Illuminate. Refraction saves Scandal from that nuke, though. Dindy has actually skilled just 1 point into Skewer, so he is going to be focusing on his Empower and Shockwave. And now we're going to have Puppy caught out near Roche. Ice Path going to lock him in place. Dindy's making his way over to help, though. SS looking for safety. Scandal moving down that way as well. Illuminate going to help get the kill. There's a big meld. Catches AA. Puppy picked off from the low ground. Funnick's there giving chase to AA. AA caught with the side trap. One last arrow from Funnick. Puts another kill on the board for Empire. So Empire giving as good as they're getting. Going haymaker for haymaker in these early stages. 13 kills on the board at just 9 minutes in. And one of the things that having a TA on your team allows you to do, especially when you're talking about a TA with a Slarter, probably should have talked more about this earlier. You've got the amplified damage. That's going to reduce the armor from Blow Your Brain, not to mention Meld, which is going to reduce Roche's armor as well. In fact, we can see, yeah, he's at -11 armor, -8 armor, -11 total. We're just in this early stage of the game. Here comes Havost. He's going to move on in with Dindy. Blow Your Brain's going to be tossed. And Avalanche, he's going to try and sprint out, not going to be able to do so. Here comes SS, though. Ice Path catches him. Dindy, oh, what a shackle shot from Funnick. Shackles him to the high ground, but Dindy, with one skewer in his back pocket, uses it to get out of trouble. More importantly, though, Empire has, oh, wow. Dindy actually just got a kill on the high ground, was keeping an eye on Roche. But Roche is going to end up dropping here. So even though Dindy gets another kill, it does look as if, yep, for sure, they are going to get that Age of Scandal. Immediately picks it up, begins to bottle some health back and ready to fight. Here comes Blow Your Brain. He's going to spot Dindy. Uses the amplify damage. Dindy forced to withdraw. And Blow's actually going to eat up. Oh, just look at the shockwave. One Illuminate, one shockwave. Just about half health on Blow Your Brain. And that's the strength of the lineup that Na'Vi has picked. I mean, that's to say nothing. Imagine that happening with a Tiny combo. With the Toss and the Avalanche. On top of a good Split Earth and what have you. Just the burst damage and an AoE is just massive for them. SS going to be learning that firsthand as he's caught out. And Scandal, with very little mana, actually, the mana leak stuns him immediately. But yeah, that's it. We have yet to see all of this really work together yet. We've been seeing it work in small engagements, small skirmishes. But once Na'Vi puts this all together, Empire's going to have to be real careful. I'll tell you one thing that stands out to me right now. And we've seen him TP around and move around a bit, but Nature's Prophet has not been nearly as big a factor in this game as I think Empire really needs him to be and wants him to be. We'll take a look at him momentarily. Want to make sure we don't miss any action here in mid. There's going to be a meld on Dindy. Scandal just kind of going blow for blow at this point. Split Earth's going to be off the mark. But anyway, back to Prophet. Gold Black has been relatively calm. I mean, he's got up his Midas, which is always going to be a big help. And Midas is a great item on a Nature's Prophet for a variety of reasons. Gives you the opportunity to get out of control if you're left to your own devices for way too long. But it is an item, I mean, instead of a Mex, for example, spending that gold to get up the extremely fast Hand of Midas guarantees you have to be of high value in other ways. You have to be teleporting around, you have to be using your Sprout to make sure that you're getting some extra kills you might not otherwise get. Otherwise, you're just kind of dead weight while you're waiting for that Midas gold to kick in, while you're waiting for that Midas to pay for itself. And to be honest, I don't think Gold Black's done that yet. He's been around a little bit, but we've just not seen all that high a value out of him. Light of Heaven's going to spawn, and there's a track Janata. And yeah, this is one of the weaknesses of Prophet. One of the reasons he's not nearly as high valued as he used to be. He is just easy to gank. He's, well, if not to kill off entirely, at least to force back. Light of Heaven opts not to dive there. And we actually are having a relative moment of calm. Dindy has completed his Blink Dagger, and that's just going to make him such a threat. Especially, again, with the AoE damage potential that Na'Vi has as a whole. You start off any kind of an engagement with a good reverse polarity that catches 2, 3. Oh, speaking of, here we go. Going to go ahead and use it. He's got a run, though. Very fortuitous use of the Invis rune, but he is going to be... oh! Finished off by Funnick, who gets the kill with the power shot. But anyway, it's tough to continue talking about how awesome he could be once we just see him kind of die there. But the truth is, the AoE potential is still there for Na'Vi. If he can lead off with a good reverse polarity with his team there, it's just going to be bad news for Empire. Empire, I think, excels more at isolating targets when you look at their lineup. They're going to have the meld, they're going to have Ice Path. Ice Path is an AoE as well, not to mention Macro Pyre and all that fun stuff. But for the most part, you're going to be looking for Scandal to just be isolating targets using the meld in conjunction with amplified damage. And Scandal's actually going to be caught by Split Earth. Big toss. He's in trouble. Here comes Blow Your Brain, though. Oh, the Avalanche off the mark. And we see Blow Your Brain chasing the rest of Na'Vi away. In fact, Havos now with the amplified damage and being pursued by Blow Your Brain. Oh, Blow took a bad step down, caught out half health already. And here comes the big battle. There's the meld on AA and the big slithering crush. AA's going to drop for sure. They're going to go ahead and give that kill to Scandal. And we saw the Prophet trying to come in. Dindy doesn't have reverse polarity. He used it to try and save himself. Ice Path not going to catch anyone. There's a toss. Scandal continues to just survive. We're going to see Light of Heaven picked off via the Sprout. AA, Dindy, Havost, and Puppy trying to find some safety here. We've got buybacks extending this fight a bit. Oh, what a good shockwave. That caught everyone from Empire. Illuminate dodged quite well. Ice Path going to catch 3. Here we go. SS about to drop it. He's going to get off his spells before he can. Shockwave going to get 1 kill. Blow Your Brain dancing in and out. The Macro Pyre cutting the battlefield in half. Just not allowing them to move the way they want. Scandal's been hanging out at about a quarter health for a long time. Same with Dindy. Blows out. He could get a whoo-hoo. 1 shockwave. Oh, wow. What a big mistake. Was going to say 1 shockwave and Dindy could get a double kill. Instead, it's AA. Scandal's back up off of the Aegis. There's the reverse polarity. Finally, it's off cooldown. Scandal in a bit of trouble. Nothing Gold Black can do but stare on, and the shockwave Adds another kill to the total. They're not done. Goldblack going to try and TP out. Do they have a stun? They do not. So he's going to make it to safety. 13-12 as the dust settles. Kind of a nutty fight. And I'll say just as a general trend, we're beginning to see those kind of fights become more and more standard. Buybacks have always been a part of Dota. If you think you can buy back and lend some value, get some backside kills after you've dropped in a team fight because the enemy team's overextended, we see that happen all the time. But even more so now. But after the before the international, during the international, you saw it, but not on the level we do now. And Empire especially, a team that does it very consistently. SS catches a split earth or caught by a split earth. Puppy's going to get a haste rune, and yeah, SS might just die here. Uses the wand charge. He's going to lay macro pyre. Oh, good mechs out of Phonic, and they turn it around. Phonic there to help his buddy out with the clutch mechs. SS could not have had more than 5% hit points when that happened. One good power shot as well, so bit agreed on the side of Leshrac. And yeah, that's enough to add another kill. We're all knotted up, make it 13-13. Still haven't had a chance to really look at the gold yet. We can see it's about 2,000 in favor of Empire right now. Experience just about the same thing. Scandal and Blow Your Brain leading the way here. Illuminate's going to catch Scandal, but the refraction helps out with that most certainly. Light of Heaven is level 8. Here we go. Blow Your Brain going to be caught out. Ice Pass there as well. Shackle Shot not going to latch. They're going to go out and charge out. SS is in trouble. He's got the mana leak. He's going to be stunned. Toss going to get the kill. Scandal refracting through a lot of this damage. The Illuminate runs into the refraction. Doesn't do nearly what they wanted. Pre-track. Going to keep an eye on Scandal at least for a little while. 14-13. Na'Vi manages to tack on another kill. In the meantime, Dindy applying pressure to the tier 1 top. So taking a look at what Scandal's up to. He's got 1,400 gold in the bank. Just has his phase in his bottle up at 16 minutes. That's actually not all that outstanding. So Scandal showing the rough wear from how much he struggled in the early game. Just how well Na'Vi was able to shut down his farm and shut down the dominance that the TA is usually going to give you in the mid lane. Taking a look at Avos, he is going to be building the carry style. He's going to be going drums straight up to Ags after the phase boots. And I love this style of Tiny. Was very lucky to cast one of the big coming out parties for this style. E-Holm at the International was just an absolute blast, and it is so hard to deal with. He can just out-carry almost anyone late stage. And we may have another battle. SS going to spin an Ice Path, not going to catch anyone. And looks like Na'Vi may want to go ahead and retreat. Actually, he's just going to run up, and he's going to be caught with a Shackle Shot. Great Shackle Shot out of Phonic. Power Shot follow-up, Dual Breath as well. Havos caught with the Ice Path. That's going to be a death. Split Earth's there, but it's too little too late. Scandal throws out the side trap as well, catches a couple. The Illuminate spam forces them back in the meantime, though. But yeah, a Tiny built in the carry style can just be so hard to deal with. But right now, we're beginning to see one of those little valleys I talked about. He's a peak and valley hero. He excels at certain stages of the game. We saw how potent his toss avalanche combo can be and is going to continue to be for at least a while. But even once he gets his Ags up, when he has no real attack speed built in, I mean, the drums help with that a bit. But without a lot of attack speed, he's still going to be relying on his combo a lot. There's going to be this little dead zone that Empire is going to try to capitalize on in terms of trying to get a lot done when that hero is feeling at his weakest during the transition from the early game to the mid game. Taking a look at Na'Vi, and this is quintessential Na'Vi, applying a lot of pressure, continuing to apply a lot of pressure. And Windrunner is going to go ahead and deny that tier 2 mid. Probably the right call to make. Back to the gold graph. Pretty close, pretty close. You're talking about a 1,200, 1,300 gold lead for Empire. A little bit better in terms of experience, but at 18 minutes into the game, one good team fight could swing both of those graphs completely out of whack, so got to call it pretty close to even. But one thing you do have to say about Empire, given how poorly Scandal did in the early game, the fact that they have a lead at all is pretty impressive. But Na'Vi, as they continue to farm up their Tiny, is going to become more and more of a threat. And Goldblack again, we've seen him moving around a bit more now. Dindy keeping an eye on him, perhaps waiting on some help. And let's see if there's going to be any knob. I mean, he's surrounded by buddies. Dindy can't really afford to engage, and just going to go ahead and blink to safety. But Na'Vi has taken to running as a team already. They're probably not going to be isolating themselves too much anymore. Vost is going to be shackled down here in the bottom lane, but just not enough damage. Scandal wants to change that, though. Blinks in, side traps there. Oh, the TP was canceled. So they are just going to go ahead and let him go in the meantime. Here comes Light of Heaven, moves in, throws out the track, sentry down immediately from SS. I love that. You see him, you feel like you might have an engagement in that area soon, drop down the sentry as quickly as you can, make sure you don't allow yourself to be caught out of position. It's just the two. SS and Funnick now holding the line, and there's the reverse polarity. Only catches one, though. Immediately the track follow-up, the combo as well. Down he goes. Funnick is going to go and spam a bit, but Na'Vi got what they wanted there. No doubt about it. I'm just going to go ahead and pull out. No reason to force the issue. Got one good isolated kill. Taking a look at what Dindy's going to be building. Let's see. Who is this? Okay, that does belong to Dindy. He's probably going to be going for a Battle Fury here. And you see this once in a while. It's much more of a pub build for the most part. But instead of using your overpower or devoting your overpower more than anything to your teammates, you just go ahead and build like a carry for Magnus. And it's rare that you really have enough time and gold to do that. But Dindy has done well enough. And Dindy's going to be caught with the shackle. Immediately amplified damage. And the BKB's up. Skewer going to force blow your brain back. But he catches Dindy. He's going to drop in the meantime. We got Havost locked inside the trees. He's going to go ahead and toss while he can. But the BKB prevents a lot of that damage. Havost making it out. There's a melt from the low ground. Light of Heaven looking for safety. Empire able to scare Na'Vi away, at least for the moment. Let's see if they want to pursue. No, they don't. They do just want to pull back. Roche is back up. So they're going to go ahead and go for that. And it's going to be on Na'Vi to try and contest it. It's going to be real tough to do without Dindy, though. 26 seconds on him. No buyback. And yeah, I mean, just look. Negative 19 armor by the time you take everything into account. The meld, the amplified damage, what have you, on the side of Empire. So, not going to say it's a great idea to build a team with the sole express purpose of taking easy Roshans, but if you can build a team you feel like is going to be solid, that happens to have that as a benefit. Never anything wrong with that. Empire is certainly benefiting from that as well. 15-15, we're at 21 minutes in, back to the gold graph. And it looks like a pretty violent swing downward. Not quite 2, yeah, finally it's going to be 2,000 as it updates. 4,000 experience, so we do see Empire building a lead here. Good skewer from Dindy, catches SS, he dies immediately. Not much else can be said about that. Illuminate spam, looking to do a little extra damage, but Dindy adds another kill to his total. Speaking of, he's the kill leader right now, sitting at 6 and 2. Don't think that surprises anyone. Pretty sure Dindy could play clockwork and walk away with 10 kills in just about any given game. But Puppy, ooh, wrong stairs to walk up there. Blow your brain, able to add a kill to his total as well. He's sitting near the bottom, actually, at 2 and 2. And that's not the biggest deal in the world, given that the teams are tied up in kills, but obviously, I mean, Slarter's a hero that he does snowball quite a bit. If he can get a levels advantage, the extra ticks or not extra ticks, extra levels and amplified damage can really make a huge difference. Haven't really seen that out of him so far. I mean, he's not doing poorly at all. And we are going to see Ags up on the Prophet, so when you see an Aghanim Scepter come out as an early item on a Prophet, and that's really early. I mean, he only has tier 1 boots, Midas, and now the Ags. The idea is you want to be able to spam your ulti as often as you can. It's going to help you out in team fights, of course. It's also going to force the other team on the back foot. It's going to allow you to play very aggressive with the knowledge that your lanes are going to remain pushed out for the most part. You can just spam the Prophet ulti and basically just roam through the enemy jungle, roam through the enemy side of the map, and never have to worry about having to come back to try and worry about your towers because the lanes have been pushed. So, again, that plays very much in Empire's typical playstyle. Looks like we're going to have Scandal going for his BKB after his Blink Dagger. Getting that Blink Dagger, such a big deal for Scandal. He's going to be able to play a lot more aggressively, and we've already seen that a couple of times. Mechs and Force Staff, the item choices out of Funnick, so pretty typical support stuff out of our Windrunner. And it seems like Dindy, he must just have a box full of Invis runes back at the fountain. Every time I look at him, seems like he has an Invis rune sitting on him. He's actually not horrendously far from his Battle Fury at this point, if that is indeed what he's going to build. I still suspect it is. But keeping an eye on SS for right now. Speaking of SS, he's got his Urn, a wand, and not much else, tier 1 boots. And yeah, going to do a little free damage, steal some farm, because hey, why not? Back to Scandal, though. Scandal's not having the best game. I mean, he's 4 and 4, which isn't horrible. But given that the last 5 minutes and for the next 5 to 10 minutes is really considered the wheelhouse of TA, you usually want to have a much better kill-death ratio, and not just for talking points. I mean, it's a big mistake for people to get hung up on KD and Dota, just because it does not matter the way it does in a lot of other games, especially of this genre. But you don't want to be spending a lot of time dead and in the well if you're a TA. You want to be getting the most out of your hero during the early stages of the mid-game, as well as just the early laning phase. And Scandal was just unable to do that. Na'Vi applied way too much pressure. And here we go. They're going to go ahead and engage on Light of Heaven. And here we go. Scandal blinks in. Can he chase him down? Blow your brains. Giving chase to AA. Force staffs to safety. Light of Heaven somehow still alive. AA not likely to be so as he catches a slithering crush. Down he goes. They're going to go ahead and try and take this tower. The glyph is popped, though. So Na'Vi, most likely, going to look to get some other objective or to defend. They're certainly not going to be able to defend, but in the meantime, Havos is applying pressure to the Tier 2 bottom. And he's going to be able to TP out. Up Scandal blinks there just in time to see him disappear. So, pretty good little engagement there for Empire. They only managed to pick off one hero, but that one hero pick allowed them to take the tower they've been looking to take for a while, and the Tier 2 bottom is still in really good shape, sitting at 1,200 experience. Double damage room going to be picked up by Funnick. He's got it bottled up. And yeah, this is the kind of game that you live to cast Dota for. It's too close to call. You can talk about the relative advantages both teams have. Of course, again, I stand by my statement that I think Empire excels at playing a game a lot more like we just saw. Isolating heroes, trying to take out one or two as opposed to these mass 5-on-5 team fights, I think. Again, I mean, when you talk about a Prophet in particular, for example, especially having gone Ags, he's just not going to be giving you a lot of right-click damage. He's not going to be giving you much else than his mobility and his ability to sprout and isolate heroes. Again, that comes back to what I was talking about. And they've got the pieces in place to be able to teamfight, don't get me wrong. They've got the mechs and all that fun stuff. But Na'Vi, I think what they want more than anything is to run 5-on-5 into each other. They do that, one good reverse polarity from Dindy, and you can just count on Empire completely disintegrating. There's just not a whole lot they can do if they lose half of their team or more, 2 or 3 people, or even more, to a reverse polarity. Then you have it followed up by Tiny's combo, Edict, Split Earth, Shockwave. Yep, speaking of reverse polarity, Funnick's going to be caught out, and he's just dead to rights. Just dead to rights. Puppy gets a free ride, just kind of cuz. Havos quite happy to give him the free ride, and SS might actually be caught too. He eats the Avalanche, and a good dodge of the Ice Path there from the Tiny. So SS manages to stay standing for the moment. Light of Heaven throws out the track. They want to apply some pressure. We may have a big team fight coming up here. Empire making their way up slowly but surely. And we'll see how much Na'Vi wants to commit to this. Ice Path going to catch Puppy, force him to take a couple of tower shots. But yeah, we're beginning to see how much damage. And again, just the strength of carry Tiny. He's not swinging too fast yet, but he's going to be getting a lot faster. He's already got his Yash up. And we'll see what he wants to opt for next. Usually, when you see this, the Yasha going to remain just by itself for at least a little while, possibly BKB next, or an Assault Cure, so they want to go that way. Light of Heaven might be in trouble. AA bails him out. Uses the Blast to force Gold Black back before he can use the Sprout. Side Trap's going to catch Light of Heaven on the backside. He's got amplified damage on him, and once again, that gives True Sight. Here comes Scandal. There's the meld. Very low armor. What a Split Earth from Puppy. Oh, wow. Just saved Light of Heaven for sure. What a... Oh, wow. One of the better Split Earths I've ever seen. And again, it didn't swing a big fight. It didn't win or lose the game. But just the prediction, predicting the movement, getting it off just in time, and guaranteeing Light of Heaven made it back to safety. Really well done there out of Puppy. Back to Tiny, by the way. He is going with the carry Tiny build. He's got the phase boots up. He's going to be moving at haste rune speed pretty much from now on whenever he uses the phase boots. You've got the bonus movement speed from the Yasha as well as the drums. But again, his next item choice is going to be very important. Is he going to go for something more survivability-oriented, like a BKB or a Manta style? Go ahead and build that Yasha up. Or is he going to opt to go with an Assault Curus? Personally, I think he might benefit a lot from a BKB at this stage of the game. It just is going to give Na'Vi the ability to have at least one person who's going to be able to hang and bang outside of that mass team fight. And of course, just the survivability that comes with it, because again, Empire's real strength is in isolating heroes. Just whenever you talk about amplified damage and meld in particular, you can sprout people in with Gold Black. Not to mention the Ice Path, which, again, it's an AoE, but more than anything, generally speaking, it's only going to catch one if the other team has the presence of mind to spread out. You'll usually be lucky to catch one against a team as talented as Na'Vi. If you get more, that's great, but you're just hoping to catch at least one and use that range to your advantage. So I think having your big heavy hitter, your big dude with the big tree, with a little bit more survivability would be a big help. He's got 3,500 gold in the bank, so no idea what he's going to build it into yet. But BKB, I think, would help a ton. 17-17 in a 28-minute game right now. We'll take another look at our gold graph. 3,000 gold, not even that much experience. So yeah, at this stage of the game, 30 minutes in, that's basically even. You may as well say it's tied. It's a marginal advantage, but not one worth mentioning, especially with the Tiny on the map and a Prophet. If you want to talk about heroes that can negate basic advantages, those are two of them. Once a Tiny gets absurdly farmed, which, without a doubt, Havost is on his way to being. If you lose a team fight and it's on your side of the map, you are going to lose Rax. He's going to swing his tree 3 or 4 times And whatever buildings happen to be in the way are just going to immediately disintegrate. It's just going to be disgusting. Same thing with the Prophet. Especially given he did go with the Axe. His ability to just spam the lanes out, make sure the lanes stay pushed. Even if you're pushing into a Prophet, you're guaranteeing, okay, fine, you're going to force a team fight on the enemy side of the river. But best case scenario, the other two lanes are generally going to be pushed out because of the ulting. So if you lose that fight, Prophet's going to be able to TP immediately to whatever creep wave is the furthest push and punish you the same way a Tiny can. And that's going to get to be even more potent, because usually at this stage, you see right-click damage being built. Force Staff was the opted for item immediately after the Axe, but at this point it wouldn't surprise me a bit to see something built that's going to give him a little damage, perhaps a Deso. But Deso, again, that might be the item choice for Scandal. Speaking of Scandal, has his BKB up as well. So thinking along the same lines I am, just having some kind of survivability on your heavy hitter at this stage of the game is essential, and yay, I was right. Avos did opt to go ahead and get the BKB. So Yasha, Ags, BKB, Phase, and Drums. That's a lot of farm. A lot of farm for our Tiny. In fact, we can look at it and see 216 last hits right now for him. He's by far the leader on the board. We'll take a look at our net worth while we wait to see if this is going to work. And this is a problem Empire is going to have against the Magnus and against the Tiny. They're both flash farmers. And Na'Vi, very much aware of it, has gotten the most out of it. The two highest net worth heroes on the board right now are Tiny and Magnus. So that's a big problem if you're in Empire's shoes. And hang on, we may have a team fight. Na'Vi, Wind Ferocia going to be caught out. Blow Your Brain is there. BKB versus BKB. Three big guys swinging it out at the top of the steps. Here comes Scandal, though, using that meld to reduce the armor. Ice Path, not going to catch anyone. Havos with the BKB down, has to retreat. He's got the amplified damage on it. Blow Your Brain knocked to the high ground, or Force Staff to the high ground. Funnick still hanging around. Goldblack's going to manage to lock Havos in, but here we go. Dindy moves in. He still hasn't used... No, there it is, the reverse polarity. Gets one kill. Funnick now isolated out. He's in trouble. Just so much AoE damage and immediate buybacks coming out of Empire. They don't want to give this Roche up. Havos not really in good shape to fight. The Urn Charge going to help him with that at least a little bit. But just look how much damage Roche is taking here. Taking so much damage. Puppy going to be amplified damage immediately. Here they go. Go Black and Blow Your Brain. Move in. Didn't see who got the Aegis. Oh, it was Tiny. Here comes the big guy. He's at half health. What a toss. Up to the high ground. Goldblack tries to lock him in, but he can swing a tree over top of the trees. That's just how big he is at this point in the game. Scandal and Funnick want to try and get that Aegis off of him. Here comes Dindy. Another big toss. Scandal's in trouble. He's going to be skewered and finished off by Dindy. Dindy, by the way, did build that Battle Fury. Now has a Mask of Madness as well. 22 to 18. Can they out-damage the backdoor protection? We'll find out. They're trying for it. They're just going to go ahead and melt the creeps down. And yeah, they're just going to go ahead and back up. Not going to roll the dice too much. The Age is still up on Tiny. He's got 2,600 gold in the bank as well. And that's bad news for Empire. Funnick's not willing to give up. Still chasing down the Tiny. And Blow Your Brain's there as well. Going to go ahead and use the amp, and now the Force Staff plus the sprint. Can he catch him? Tiny moving quickly, using those phase boots, and they are just going to go ahead and back out. And that's such a hard call to make if you're Empire right there. To chase him that far, but then to go, you know what? If I run just a few more steps, the entire other team, or other members of their team, might be waiting on the other side of those trees. So their choice not to do so, very wise. As we can see, Puppy's going to be Force Staff forward. Funnick just being as annoying as he can. They may get a kill for it. Another Force Staff, though, going to get Puppy to safety. Can they get the courier on the backside? Goldblack's there, caught with the Split Earth. Puppy can't get out, though. He got rooted in, or got sprouted in, I should say. Illuminate does a little bit of damage on the backside of things. A lot of action. 22 to 19, and we're not done. Light of Heaven might get spotted out here. Havost is there, and Blow Your Brain commits. Goes on AA. AA is going to drop. Now Blow Your Brain and Havost, both of the BKBs pop looking for safety. There's that AoE, and Dindy uses a reverse polarity to suck them all in. So much AoE damage being done by Havost with that big tree, not to mention the shockwave. And of course the cleave that comes off of Empower. One big skewer gets another kill on the board. Scandal trying to stay alive. Goldblack locks Dindy in, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Scandal dodges a shockwave on the bottom side, but Goldblack picked off, and that's an ultra kill for Havost. No surprise, and again, that's kind of what I was harping on throughout most of this game. The potential for that to happen has been there the entire time. It was just a question of when Na'Vi was going to catch Empire out of position. And to tell you the truth, that reverse polarity, it was good. It wasn't super amazing or anything. But just the way that their team synergizes is unbelievable. Everything their heroes do help out other heroes. Tiny, the big winner, of course. He's got 5,300 gold, Tiny. 1,800 net worth, or 18,000 net worth. The next closest is Dindy at about 11,000. And the next closest, and I was actually going to talk about this before the Roche fight broke out. A big problem Empire's going to have. It's Phonic on Windrunner's awesome, but he cannot be your top farmer. He cannot be farming or have a net value higher than Scandal. You just can't have that happen. And again, all the credits due to Na'Vi. The way they shut Scandal down in the early stages of the game has just allowed them to reach this point. And I have a hard time imagining what Empire's going to be able to do to pull this out now. They can win a big team fight, but I don't know that it's going to be enough. Tiny's just too far ahead. Puppy going to be caught out. Takes a bit of damage there, but they're not going to commit. Worrying about who might be on the way back. Light of Heavens there is going to be spotted out. Amplified damage still up on Puppy. Here we go. Ice Path on Havost. Havost engages into every bit of Empire. Going to go ahead and toss. Blow your brain. BKB's popped in the meantime. What a reverse polarity. Caught 3. The 4 staffs go off trying to get people to safety. But Dindy's been looking for that all game. Another good one. The only problem was Tiny wasn't there. The damage follow-up just wasn't there. I don't know that it matters, though, to be honest. Scandal is going to drop almost for sure. The cleave is just so massive. AA's back up. We're going to see Scandal drop, and the Aegis goes off of Tiny, but now that Tiny's going to be back up and fighting full health, it's just another big problem for Empire. Oh, Dindy. Got a feel for the guy. Landed the best reverse polarity of the game. Problem is, Tiny was not there. If Tiny had been there, it would have been 3 heroes dead immediately. Got to give Empire credit. Using the 4 staffs to get their teammates out of that big circle of death. Blow your brain. Withdraws at about half health. Scandal's back up. Light of Heaven's going to go ahead and track Scandal out. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. Even if Empire wins a team fight or 2, Havost is just too far ahead. Yeah, he's already got up his Hyperstone as well. And this is when things really become punishing for a carry Tiny. Once he's built up his survivability, which he certainly has with Manta, with BKB, not to mention his movement speed to get him out of trouble when he does get caught out. If you allow a Tiny to build all those things and keep his damage low for this long during the game, and then he's able to survive and his team's able to get an advantage, and he's able to begin building attack speed, that's when things are officially out of control. And yeah, Empire, I think, on their last legs here. Roughly 7,500 gold, the advantage now for Na'Vi. 12,000 experience, and I really don't know what they can do. I mean, just the way they built their team, especially with the Prophet, again, just to be blunt, other than spamming his ulti, I mean, he's had a few good sprouts, but Gold Black has just not been the factor you need a Nature's Prophet to be. At no point have I felt like his TP ganks were threatening. SS going to be mana leaked and 4 staffed out. He's going to be stunned because of it. Here comes Blow Your Brain. Going to go ahead and wind up for the crush that catches Havost. Havost very tanky. Off goes the BKBs on both sides. Another fantastic reverse polarity. Dindy there on time with the big spell. And Gold Black locked in on the backside. That time around, Tiny was there. Tiny there, swinging the big stick when Dindy dropped the hammer. And there's the GG. So Dindy and Havost able to seal the deal here in this game. A fantastic game that lasted about 38 minutes. And as they bang down the Ancient, Na'Vi showing why they are one of the most popular teams on the planet and one of the most feared teams on the planet. Really hope you guys have enjoyed this RepCast. It's fun, man. It's different casting solo. Not something I do that much, but I hope to improve and hope that you guys enjoyed it in the meantime. If you have enjoyed this RepCast, I would absolutely love to have you as a follower on Twitter. You can find me at Ayesee. You can see that right there on your screen. I really hope you'll subscribe here on YouTube because I am going to be producing a lot more content. In fact, the schedule I'm setting for myself is a RepCast every Monday and Wednesday with a mailbag on Friday and other highlights and other videos when I have the chance. So again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening and hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.